Good morning. Today is the 6th of March 2025 and I'm going to go through my trading checklist and my trading plan for today. Before we start, let's look to see what news could move the market. Not a great deal. Anything at 8:30. We did have a little bit of news at 8:30. Medium volatility, and we didn't see much happen there. And then today, not much really. We do have Fed speaking from 3:30, shouldn't affect anything. So nothing really going on today at all. Tomorrow we've got some news coming in at 8:30. Okay, so let's just crack on my. I do look at this occasionally, so this is worth taking a note out. In fact, I saw somebody on YouTube talking about this last night, and I thought, I've not looked at it for a while. So what we're looking at here is the 200-day average. Where the stocks are above the 200-day average, So this gives us an idea when we're above the 200-day average. You can see we had 80% of stocks above the 200-day at some point at the end of last year, and now we've dropped below 50%, showing a bit of weakness in the market. So these are, sometimes I keep an eye on these. When we get below 50, then you know we might be looking for a bit of a change of direction in the market. Let's go back up. I don't have too much to say about it other than it's just more of a pre-warning, and you can see we had a bit of a change of trend as well. So for the last 2 years almost, we've been in this uptrend, and then I talked about this a week and a half ago, just before I went away to Sweden, and I said that we're in this stage 3. So we've got the 3 stage market. This is the stages. You've got stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, and then repeat. And so we were in this stage 5 of the market, stage 3 of the market, and let's go back again, and you can see here going sideways. Potentially we're making moves to get out of this. Maybe we're putting in a stage 4, which is this stage here. So it's interesting to notice. In fact, even if you go down the time frames and follow the time frames right down into the lower time frames, you can see this almost on all time frames. You've got stage 1, stage 2, stage 2, stage 3, and so forth, and then repeat, and you can see it. So I don't know whether everything seems to be a bit sluggish. I'm doing quite a lot in the background. I'm transferring a lot of video files over to my NAS drive, and it's been running for about 15 hours, so maybe that's slowing things down a bit. But anyway, let's crack on with some levels, and it's always good to know about what's going on the higher time frames. Look at this massive increase of volume here, and we've got prices just selling off as well. So that's normally a sign that we've got strength in the sellers here, and then when we start seeing reducing volume but increasing price, that's normally a sign of weakness. We talked about it a few times. Decreasing volume, increasing price, I think it's around here. I think definitely last week we saw some as well. Prices were creeping up, but the volume was quite low, and then we saw this big, well, I wasn't around for this, but then we saw this big sell-off, increased volume. So this is fear in the market right now. Fear is taking over. So we've had a period of greed, and now we're starting to see a period of fear, and that's how the market moves. Let's go down into the hourly. Just one thing to note as well, look at the movement, look at the RSI. We're right down at the oversold area. Last time we got below 30%, it was this area here. We had a few days of selling, and then we bounced quite nicely. Same here. Quite a few days of selling, probably not too dissimilar to what we've got there, and then we had this big bounce, and then same down here. In fact, we came into it for a bit, it came in, a bit of a bounce, came down, broke the 30% in the RSI, and then we just had this big amount of upset of selling as well. So we are back down in that area now. What can we expect to see? If maybe we may have a few days where we just go sideways, and maybe that will help bring the RSI back up to the 50% and then continue to trend down. That's one scenario. Or we can just see that we have a big bounce at this point, like we had a bounce here, came in, we touched it, big bounce. But it's but they're showing no signs of. We've had a couple of bottom tails here, so we had a bottom tail candle there. We had this indecision bottom tail candle as well yesterday, and we're now back inside. So we're inside this candle. So potentially, if I zoom in, we could say we are setting up a little bit of a bear flag, and we've got this pattern forming, something like that. And then generally you want to favour the direction of the trend, and we're in the daily taking like that pivot as well. So we could expect to see maybe some continuation down. One thing I did notice on the hourly was a nice bit of a trend setting up here. If I were to link these together, kind of got something like that. Nasdaq's even clearer than that, and I think if we hold this region, I've got this area I marked up yesterday, which is a 15-minute demand zone, and what I'm looking for really is for a bounce around that area today. But if we do lose this trend line, let's just draw it back in again, something like that. I'll just put it in the middle about there. If we do lose that trend line, then and we lose yesterday's low, then we've got some way down to go. Notice how volume's declining. Let's just zoom out a bit and see what we've got below that area. Nothing for a long time. So we're right in this area now. Notice also this volume shelf. Area of confidence tops all these pivots, bottoms of these pivots here, and we've not been back until then. That's going back to September, we were last here. If we lose yesterday's low, then look at the volume, it just dips off there. We've got nothing really until we get back down into this region, and that's all the way down at 5600, this region here. So we could look for a potential break and retest of pre-market low, maybe yesterday's low. If we see it come down, come back up into that area for the retest. But I still quite like the bounce in this region for now, unless we can't hold it. If we lose that area, then I'm looking for the break and retest into the void below. If we can get over pre-market high, a bit like yesterday, even though pre-market high is a bit lower down, we've got more room to maneuver. We've got a little bit of distance until we get back up into that zone, 58.40 down to 58.80 area. If you remember the video yesterday, I said I'm watching this zone because it's a 15-minute area of supply, and what I really wanted to do, I really want to see it come in, come back out, come back in and retest it, and then drop down. And we've kind of done that in post-market and pre-market. We'd like to see it go in a bit further. That would be the ideal scenario, but that pretty much played out. So hopefully, if you've got a strategy where you can take it, if it comes in, comes back out, maybe touches it, that would have been a great play. So that's it. So basically today I'm watching two plays. I'm watching yesterday's high for rejection, watching yesterday's low for a bounce, watching for the break and retest of pre-market high and pre-market low into this region. We'll be a bit wary of that. And if we lose yesterday's low, then I'll be looking for the break and retest into that area. Let's go down to the 15. So we can still keep that area. It's pretty much, we can probably bring it down a bit into that region there. So let's just fine tune it. So I'm using the 15-minute to fine tune the areas of supply and demand. And then down here we've got this red candle. That's where we bounced today. Look at that. So, and that's our bounce area. Exactly that. So looking for a bounce in that area. Again, what I look for when I draw my zones is I'm looking for a big reaction in the opposite direction. So we had selling, 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 and then a big green candle. So down here is my area of demand. And then the same up here, big reaction. Wasn't really much of a reaction, but we've got this reaction here. So we were going green, 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 green. Big reaction down, so that's my area there to watch as a supply zone. I think that's it. I did take two trades yesterday. I'll just quickly go through them. It was, I took a bounce around here. It wasn't in my plan. I saw that we were holding, and I think I put my stop just there, and I think I took that bounce there. It wasn't a really great trade. It came in, I was doing okay, but I was holding for this area here for a 2R to 3R, and then it stopped me out on this move down. But then I did wait. It got back down into this area of demand, came back out, and even though I missed, I was waiting for it to come back in. It didn't come back in, so I just waited for a trend continuation, and saw that we were setting up this little bit of an inverse head and shoulders pattern, and then we had this flag setting up. So I took the long just there with my stop just there, and I got a decent, I think I got 2R. So I had a 1R loss down here, wherever it was here, and then I was out. I think I literally got out of there on the high. So I had a 2R win. So up about 1.5R on the day, something like that. And so decent day. And it's all about being patient as well. I didn't get into that, I think it's about midday, 12 o'clock I think I got into that trade. It might have been 1 o'clock, something like that. So I don't like trading after. I really only want to trade for the first two hours of the day. Be done by 11, 11:30, 12 at the latest. Let's just quickly look at order flow. Nothing like yesterday setting up. Yesterday was a big, and that's the reason I went long actually. We had price was coming down or going sideways, and we had cumulative delta just pushing up, and it worked out. A new reason I took that continuation trend play yesterday was because of the cumulative delta as well. So, and that's what gave me the confidence. In fact, my play was right, just my timing was a bit out. I just needed a bit more patience. So today, pre-market, we haven't really got much going on. Maybe a little bit of cumulative delta divergence there, and then we're putting in equal highs, and that's putting in lower highs. No, there's nothing really exciting going on. I can't see anything unusual. In fact, we could say that is a divergence. So we're putting in higher high, higher low. We haven't put in any higher high yet, but here we're putting in lower low every time. Pre-market volume, so that's what I'm looking for a reversal later on at the points we just talked about. Let's flip back. Let's quickly go through the others. SPY, exactly the same as areas watching yesterday. I'm watching for a bounce down here at yesterday's low. Look at that. I said watch this area, and it came straight in. And I'm looking for a rejection at yesterday's high, and we marked that off yesterday. So hopefully someone watched this and got these levels, maybe took a trade out of it. It would have done okay. Yeah, nothing else. Maybe break and retest a pre-market low. Slightly higher probability because we're below the moving averages. Pre-market highs going back into that area of supply, so not a big fan of that today. SPX levels, holding that area there, 58.60, 58.70. Could say there's another level here somewhere, but keep an eye on yesterday's low for bounce as well. So we could add a new level, but I'll do that over the next day or two. The reason I have SPX up is because if I want to go long and SPX is coming into a rejection area, then it will make the long I'm trying to take on the S a lot harder. And same if I want to go short. I only want to go short if SPX looks like it wants to go short as well. This is NASDAQ. We've got a more defined trend line here than we have on ES. If we lose pre-market low, I do quite like the break and retest into this zone for a bounce, and I do quite like yesterday's low for a bounce. It's going to be quite close, so just bear that in mind. And if obviously we lose this trend line, then potentially we've got a big void below, and we could see some downward momentum. If we can get into this yesterday's high area, I do quite like the rejection there. Maybe we could start to see something like that. as you see, that area holding, this area is a trend line, and putting in a bit of flag, and then we might see something break down like that. So keep an eye on that particular pattern today as well, or over the next few days. And that's it really, nothing else. QQQ. Notice the levels are a little bit not quite as exciting today, because we've already been there twice. I'm a big believer in how many times you want to knock on the door. So we've got this yesterday's high, previous day's high, previous day low, yesterday's low. You know, you knock, knock, and eventually you're not going to reject it. You're going to break through. And I always prefer the first reaction than the second or third reaction. So today, keep an eye on the break and retest the pre-market high into yesterday's high. Watch that area for the rejection at 50. What's that? 503.62. And then just watch yesterday's low for a bounce at 491 area. Oil. How are we doing? Well, I've got plenty of time. Oil. It's holding that trend. You could argue say it's broken the trend, come back and retest it, but it could just be how I've drawn the line. But it does look a bit like a trend, a double bottom here, a break and retest. So keep an eye on 66.91 for the break and retest long. And we've got that area there, 68 to watch for the rejection. Otherwise, watch yesterday's low for the bounce. But we are trading above all the movement. Oh, this is a 5-minute chart. Let's go off. Level's still the same. That's better. Yeah, break and retest a pre-market low to break this trend, and then we can watch for a potential rejection up here, 71, and 68 is a level to watch as well, area confluence. And if we get to yesterday's low, watch this area for the bounce. Just a quick one to note, we had a big volume there with decreasing volume as we're selling off as well, showing a weakness in the selling. So maybe we are looking for a bit of a change of trend. Right down in the oversold area as well. Plus we've got this big area, bounce, 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 and bounced again. So that's a key area to watch. 65.20, that place, this level's been in place for a long time. Next up is gold. I do quite like this. What do I like? We've got all-time highs. We broke down, we came back up, and look at that, we're retesting this area. Let's find something a bit closer. And even better, we were putting in this uptrend, then we put in this flag kind of pattern, broke it, coming back up to retest. These are some of my favourite type of plays, break and retest. So ignore that little blip there and there. If we can get back up into this point of control area, so what area, this is around 29.60, sorry, 29.26 I meant. Let's keep an eye, we've got a big volume shelf and a point of control through there. You can see how much volume's been in this area. So we've got all this volume here, we've got loads of areas of confluence, bottoms of pivots, all this activity here, all this activity there as well. So let's look for potential rejection in this direction. Otherwise, it's hard trying to find a break and retest of pre-market high into the overhead resistance, or you could call it overhead supply. But if we break pre-market low, then we'll be breaking that trend as well. We could see some more downward movement. Again, I like the fact that we've broken down, pulled back, and then losing it again. So break and retest pre-market low, and if we can get below there, we do have a bit of a volume shelf. Then our next area to watch for bounce will be best area of confluence around here. So we've got bottoms of these pivots, bottoms of this pivot, tops of these pivots, and we've got a volume spike to the left. So that's an area to watch for potential bounce. RTY. downtrend, sideways, downtrend. And then where are we for the lows? Bit of a pivot down here. More recent. I do quite like the area it is in right now for a bounce. If we can break this downtrend, come back up, move down, retest, look for the bounce, bit like we did here. Broke the downtrend, pushed up, and look at that big bottom tail came right back in, and that's the entry there. Try to find 50% of that move, and that's a perfect 50% there. So watch the same today. If we can break, we have to break out of this trend line, come back in and pull it, pull back a bit, and then I want to see 50% of that move as a bounce area. So probably where we are right now, but it's a bit early. Otherwise, if we lose pre-market low, break and retest into previous day's lows, and then break and retest pre-market high into this overhead area here. YM, just the Dow Jones, again still in a downtrend. We've got that little trend line there. Volume shelf immediately above, well not immediately above, around the area we kind of expected because it's an area of confluence. So let's watch for a break and retest of pre-market high into this region for rejection. Let's watch a break and retest of pre-market low, down, taking out yesterday's low for us to move down to that next area, 42, what's that, 42, massive big pivot. So that's our next bounce area. And then finally Bitcoin. I might add a bit more today. Got this trend line, we've broken it. You could say we've got this trend line as well. We're now above the 50 and the 200 on the hourly, so giving us a bit more momentum to find longs. So let's look for a bounce. I do quite like this area actually. Yesterday's low area, 88, is that around 88 to 87 for a bounce. And that'll be holding this trend line as well. It'll be holding this area of confluence, and we've got this big volume shelf in that same area as well. So let's watch that area here for a bounce. And obviously the moving averages will be down in that area as well, so it adds another confirmation. Otherwise, break and retest pre-market low, break and retest over 92. 92's been that key area we've been watching for some time. This region here. Still an area to watch. Let's mark it off. Well, okay, I got it down at 94 almost, but 92 to 94, this region is basically this zone. And if we can get back above that area, I do quite like finding another entry around here for the push up. And that's it really. Probably watch another bounce back down here at that gap fill at 80, 81. Okay, let's have a quick look. I know I did this yesterday. The DAX holding that trend line. Look at that, holding that trend line. Let's go down to the hourly. Really extended. Not saying I'd want to go long in. Are we looking at a head and shoulders pattern? Neckline's about there. So break and retest of pre-market low. We've got a little bit of movement down. Notice the lack of volume, decline in volume into the void. Next area is down here for the bounce, 22.90, so 23. So we could see a bit of a short play here. Otherwise, if we get back down into this region here, we can watch this region for a bounce off of that trend line. And we've got massive amounts of volume down here as well. So there's no reason why we won't see another bounce. And that's it for the DAX. Might as well do UK 100. This is the FTSE 100. So very quick analysis. First thing I look at is volume. See the increased volume on the sell-off. And then we had this big move down, and then we've got this area confluence where we are right now. But what I do like is a break and retest a pre-market low, and that takes us into this volume void, nothing there. And the next place we can watch for the bounce will be around this area, and that's at 85.44. Let's mark it up. Remember, it's only a rough area, and the reason I like that is we had a move down and then that big reaction to it. Looking more closer, this area here, watch for a bounce as well. We had this move down and then big reaction, and we've taken out the rest. And obviously if we get back up into this zone here, I do quite like this area for the rejection as well. That area there, so we had a push up and then big reaction down. And this is the hourly. I can probably fine tune these zones on the 15-minute. Okay, that's it. Market opens in 3 minutes. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button as well. Helps with the algorithms and all things that like to watch us. And I will be back tomorrow, but I will be on the live stream, which is the order flow stream, this one, on the other channel, which I'll put a link in right now. And any queries or comments, I'm not sure it's in the description yet, but I've just created a new Discord channel, and I'll put the links in the description for that as well. I'll do that shortly. Okay, thank you for watching.